I used to be like most people, thinking that sleep was just a necessary evil. Sure, I enjoyed a good night's rest, but I never really saw it as something to revel in. That all changed for me recently though, and now, I'm a man obsessed with sleep. It all started when I took a short nap during my lunch break one day. I was feeling tired and figured a quick snooze would do me some good. And you know what? It did. I woke up feeling refreshed and energized, ready to tackle the rest of my day. From that point on, I started looking for any opportunity to catch a few winks. I'd take a nap on the bus on my way to work, sneak in a few Z's in the park during my lunch break, and even doze off in the restroom stall at work. But it wasn't until I had the idea of getting a motorized hospital gurney on wheels that my love for sleep truly reached new heights. I figured, why limit myself to only napping in the comfort of my own home or workplace? With the gurney, I could take my naps on the go, running errands and doing everyday tasks while mostly unconscious. So, one day, I went out and got myself a gurney. I added some pillows and blankets to make it as comfortable as possible, and then I set out to live my life while sleeping. Grocery shopping was the first task on my list. I lay down on the gurney and started wheeling myself through the aisles. It was glorious. I'd doze off for a bit, and then wake up and grab whatever item I needed before dozing off again. The only downside was when the grocery store clerk had to wake me up so I could pay for my groceries at the checkout stand. I was a little annoyed, but I quickly fell back asleep after swiping my debit card. Next up was the bank. I parked my gurney outside and took a nap while waiting in line. It was finally my turn. I wheeled myself up to the teller, still half asleep, lying on my back 3 feet below the teller's face. She couldn't see me, so I had to loudly clear my throat to announce my presence. She leaned over the counter and looked down to find me lying on my back and staring up at her. I could barely reach, but I successfully extended my arm enough to set my wallet on top of the counter. I'm not sure if the teller thought I was crazy or just really tired, but I got my banking done and went on my way. I also took my gurney for a walk around the block. It was a beautiful day outside, and I couldn't resist the urge to nap in the sun. I'd wake up every so often and move myself forward a bit, but mostly, I just slept. My favorite trip on the gurney so far was to the museum. I'd always loved art, but never quite understood why people would spend hours staring at a single painting. But on my gurney, I got it. I'd take a nap, wake up, look at the art for a bit, and then take another nap. It was like the paintings were lulling me to sleep. And so, my love for sleep continues to grow. I'm always looking for new ways to incorporate sleeping into my daily routine, and I couldn't be happier. Life in my gurney is great. I mean, why would I ever want to leave the comfort of my bed? I even brought it to work with me. In fact, I've even rearranged my cubicle to accommodate my new love for sleeping. I put in a taller desk and had my computer screen mounted underneath facing the floor, so that I can wheel myself under the desk and see the computer screen. It's perfect. I'm a salesman, and I have to make a lot of calls throughout the day. I get annoyed when a potential client actually answers my call because it interrupts my nap. I usually just try to keep the call as short as possible so that I can go back to sleep. Driving is no longer a problem either. I had the seats removed from my car so that my gurney would fit, and I installed mirrors so that I can see the road while lying down. It's actually quite relaxing to take a nap while on the road. And when I get home from work, I don't even have to sit up to eat dinner. I have these tubes that I use to feed myself while lying down in my gurney. It's like being served food in a hospital, but way more comfortable. Honestly, I can't ever imagine going back to my normal life. My gurney has become my everything. It's my bed, my office, my car, my dining table. It's all I need. And the best part, no one bothers me. They just assume I'm some kind of weirdo and leave me alone. But that's fine with me. I'm happy in my gurney, and that's all that matters. At first, my coworkers thought my gurney was a bit strange, but they eventually grew to despise it. They didn't understand why I had to sleep all the time, and they were getting annoyed by the sound of my snoring. My boss even called me into his office one day to reprimand me for my lack of productivity. I tried to explain to him that I was still able to get my work done, even if I was sleeping, but he just didn't understand. That's when I decided to take matters into my own hands. I went to my company's Department of Diversity and explained to them that this is who I am, and I can't change who I am. I told them that if they don't accept me for who I am, then there will be legal consequences. I got the local government involved and started a movement called Sleepers Are People, or SAP for short. We were a group of people who all love to sleep, and we were tired of being discriminated against in the workplace. We eventually formed an official congregation to promote the rights of sleepers in the workplace. We petitioned for a minimum of 55 minutes of mandatory napping time per hour, and eventually, we won. I sat on the board of directors for SAP, and we were finally able to get the recognition we deserved. When we would have a meeting, we would all lie in our gurneys in a large circle, like Congress, but we were all just snoring into our microphones. When our meeting was over for the day, we would all congratulate each other on a meaningful and productive day of work. Our little movement started to gain momentum, and before we knew it, SAP had become a national sensation. People all over the country were standing up for their right to sleep, and we were leading the charge. We organized protests in front of businesses, and we did it by sleeping. We would roll up to the front of a store with our protest signs screwed onto our gurneys, and we would just nap right there in front of the entrance. At first, people didn't know what to make of us, but then they started to see the message we were trying to send. We were tired of being told we couldn't sleep, and we were tired of being treated like second-class citizens. Soon, the entire country adopted rights for sleepers. It became illegal for businesses to discriminate against people who needed to sleep, and a mandatory 55 minutes of napping time per hour was implemented in every workplace. It was a victory for all of us, and it was all because of SAP. We had started out as just a group of people who loved to sleep, but we had turned into a force to be reckoned with. And the best part was, we were able to achieve all this without ever having to get out of our gurneys.